I want to thank the leadership for bringing us together to talk about the real issues, the real crises that the American people are facing right now. You heard about inflation and cost of living, and that is also what I'm hearing as a top issue in my district. But the other issue is crime. And the reality is, under one-party rule at the national level and the state level and the city level, we have seen crime skyrocketing in many of America's cities. In New York City, crime is once again up 35% compared to last year. And again, that's 2021. It was above 2020, and it keeps on increasing year after year by double digits. Everything from rape to robbery, felony assault, burglary, grand theft auto, transit crimes, sex crimes. They're all up. And people in my city do not feel safe. And there are a number of policies that have led to this. First, the bail law that the governor and the state legislature put in place. I've introduced legislation here at the federal level that would require that states allow judicial discretion to consider people's dangerousness to society. We have people here on the street who have been released repeatedly. In fact, the top 10 career criminals since the bail law took effect combined have been racked up about 500 arrests, and many of them are still on the street today. Topping the NYPD's list of notable career criminals is Harold Gooding, who's been busted a total of 101 times, with 88 coming since the bail reform was enacted. So think about that. Majority of those crimes just in the last 2 years, thanks to the Democrats who are in control of our city and Washington's refusal to enact legislation like mine that would rein in prosecutors and hold them accountable and expose how many of these career criminals they're releasing, as well as my legislation to require that states allow for dangerousness to be considered by judges. A serial thief allegedly told cops that she was a professional criminal following her 97th arrest in February. She was just finally locked up in July after her 101 arrest, in which she was charged with attacking 2 cops in Harlem. And a few weeks ago, a Manhattan judge let a career criminal on lifetime parole walk free twice in 1 week without bail, even though a prosecutor had asked for it. He had, again, a whole slew of convictions, misdemeanor and felony convictions, and he had been, as I said, on parole. We have a governor, by the way, who has put together a parole board that has released dozens of cop killers in just the last 5 years, murderers, rapists, you name it. And then, of course, we have another subway attacker who, for three years after he was arrested, he had 40 times he had been arrested for various crimes. And that's why people feel unsafe riding New York City's subway. And then, of course, we have the last example, a career criminal allegedly groped a teenage girl in Times Square, then punched her father in the face. He's also accused of beating a man and stealing a car. And stealing someone's credit and debit and public benefit cards. He had 8 prior felony convictions, 19 misdemeanor convictions, and 12 failures to appear. I can go on, but I was only given 2 minutes, which I think I've already gone over. But with that said, what is our mayor doing? They're looking to cut the police budget once again, 3%. Bill de Blasio had cut it $1 billion. The mayor is doing a 3% slash. And, you know, a lot of the policies, by the way, that have been adopted by New York are now being mimicked up here. We saw a couple of bills this year that would lead to police resources being taken away, their qualified immunity protection being taken away. Nancy Pelosi even tried to put bail reform in the COVID relief package before I was elected. And lastly, I want to talk about just fentanyl, because in my district, fentanyl deaths are already up 13% this year. And we know that it's coming from our southern border. So it's a combination of the federal policies and the state policies under one-party Democrat rule that have been a disaster and are leading to my constituents and so many Americans across the nation being less safe. And to give you an example of how that policy, you have this open border, and then we had a pair of suspected drug cartel smugglers who were busted in New York with $1.2 million in meth. And what happened? They were released right back onto the street thanks to New York's bail law. So these are the ramifications of the policies that we're seeing put forth. They're putting the drug cartels, they're putting the career criminals, and they're putting the bad guys ahead of law-abiding, tax-paying citizens, and we must put an end to it, and we intend to do so come January.